Welcome to IELTS Listening Test. Please do subscribe our YouTube channel, like the video and click on the bell icon for daily listening videos. Share your listening band score in the comments section below at the end of the test.
Section 1. You will hear a number of different recordings and you will have to answer questions on what you hear. There will be time for you to read the instructions and questions, and you will have a chance to check your work. All the recordings will be played once only. The test is in 4 sections. At the end of the test, you will be given 10 minutes to transfer your answers to an answer sheet. Now turn to Section 1. Section 1. You will hear a woman talking on the phone to a hotel receptionist. First, you have some time to look at questions 1 to 5. You will see that there is an example that has been done for you. On this occasion only, the conversation relating to this will be played first.
Good morning, Atlas Hotel. Can I help you?
Oh, yes. A friend has told me about your hotel, and I'd like to book some rooms, please.
Okay, when would you like to stay here?
Well, we've booked flights on the 23rd of August.
Okay, I'll just find that date.
The arrival date is the 23rd of August, so 23rd August has been written in the space. Now we shall begin. You should answer the questions as you listen, because you will not hear the recording a second time. Listen carefully and answer questions 1 to 5.
Good morning, Atlas Hotel. Can I help you?
Oh, yes. A friend has told me about your hotel, and I'd like to book some rooms, please.
Okay, when would you like to stay here?
Well, we've booked flights on the 23rd of August.
Okay, I'll just find that date. That seems to be fine. We have a few rooms available then.
Oh, that's good. I was a bit worried. We've left things rather late.
Well, you're lucky. We had 2 cancellations last week.
Oh.
Now, how long do you want to stay for?
Well, last year we only stayed a week, and it wasn't long enough. So this time we thought 2 weeks, if it's possible.
That looks fine. Yes, you do need plenty of time here to really relax. It'll be getting towards the end of the tourist season as well, so it won't be quite so hot then.
Oh, good. We've got 2 children, and I was wondering if you have any rooms that are next to each other.
Let's see. I'm afraid that isn't possible, but we do have what we call a family room, which is a lot bigger than a double room and can take 2 adults and 2 children.
Oh, that sounds perfect.
Okay, I'll book you in for that. So, can I have your name and address, please?
Yes, it's Mr. and Mrs. Shriver.
Can you spell that for me?
Yes, it's S-H-R-I-V-E-R.
Thank you. And you said 2 children, didn't you?
Yes, they're 2 boys of 10 and 12.
Fine. And can I have your home address?
Yes, we live at flat 29, Tower Heights.
Okay. Is that England?
No, it's Scotland, actually. We're from Dunbar. The postcode's EH41 2GK.
Okay, great. That's a country I'd really like to visit.
You'd have to bring a lot of warm clothes.
I know. And can I have a contact telephone number?
Sure. Our home number is 0131 9946 5723.
723. Thank you. I hope you don't mind, but we always ask our guests what the purpose of their trip is. I'm guessing yours is a holiday?
Yes, we're really looking forward to it.
Before you hear the rest of the conversation, you have some time to look at questions 6 to 10. Now listen and answer questions 6 to 10.
As you've been here before, I wonder if you'd mind answering a few short questions for our tourist board?
No, not at all.
They collect information from tourists so that they can try to improve the tourism industry here.
That's a good idea.
Okay. So, what type of holiday activity do you like best?
Well, I like a lot of things. I like shopping and sightseeing. But I think as a family, we all enjoy swimming the most.
Okay, and do you go to the beaches to do that?
Well, sometimes we do. We also like to sit around the pool at the hotel.
When you go to the beaches, what do you think of them?
Well, they're a bit crowded.
I know.
But then you expect that in the holidays. The main thing is that they're very clean. That's why we come back.
I'm glad to hear that. And you said you like shopping?
Yes, it's fun.
How are the shop staff? Are they...
Well, I don't want to criticise, but sometimes, well, they're a bit too helpful.
trying to sell you souvenirs?
Yes, I prefer to choose things myself.
Uh-huh. What about eating and the service in the restaurants?
Oh, the food is delicious, always. And the waiters, well, they're polite and so fast. Nothing takes very long.
That's good news. Sometimes people complain, but...
Well, I haven't been to every restaurant. There are rude waiters everywhere, I suppose.
Well, we like to avoid it if we can. Do you have suggestions for things which might improve your holiday experience here?
Not really. Let me think. Oh, yes. I did notice the last time I was there that there are local buses, but you don't seem to have any bikes.
No, we don't. Most people have cars.
It's just nice to hire one and get some exercise. Go at a slower pace so that you can really see the landscape.
Okay, I'll note that down. Well, thank you very much.
That is the end of section 1. You now have half a minute to check your answers.
Now turn to Section 2. Section 2. You're going to hear a presentation about the Student Union given during University Orientation Week. First, you have some time to look at questions 11 to 15. Now listen to the first part of the conversation and answer questions 11 to 15.
So, the student union here is really the heart of campus life. There are many different services, and most of the student groups and organizations meet at this facility. As a student at the university, you have full access to all that we offer. I guess I will talk about the dining facilities first. We have 8 venues from which students can choose to have their meals. 2 of these are franchise outlets that offer normal fast food fare, such as fish and chips, hamburgers, and soda. One dining area has a do-it-yourself system. Specializing in food for the vegetarian and vegan members of the campus community, there is a wide selection of vegetables, fruits, and grains. At the end of the buffet are several cooking stations available for students to create their own meals. The student union has a wide variety of entertainment options as well. Those over the minimum age can drink at one of the 3 bars. During the school year, they regularly offer live music, musical groups from both the local scene and occasionally even very famous people have performed there. All the bars serve domestic and imported beers, wine, and hard liquor. A cinema theater with 750 seats is available for screening films. The Movie Appreciation Group also screens many types of films, even foreign and classic movies. Also, the theater is where guest speakers hold lectures. These speakers are sometimes professors from other universities or other notable people.
Before you hear the rest of the presentation, you have some time to look at questions 16 to 20. Now listen and answer questions 16 to 20.
Now I want to explain how to go about reserving a space in the student union for your event. We have several different types of rooms, ranging from small gathering areas to large lecture halls. Students can also show a movie or documentary at the cinema theater. Any student organization that wants to hold an event or meeting must submit a form available at the information desk in the main hall. On this form, you must provide a name, their contact information, a short description of the event, the type of room required, and the time and date you need it. Any organization sponsoring the event or meeting must also be listed, along with the budget. This budget has to include items bought for the event and any people who are hired. There is also a section for any sort of multimedia resources you need. Write down anything you might need, such as speakers, projectors, screens, microphones, podiums, or even computers. We will contact the Media Resources Center to make sure all the necessary equipment is there at the right time. We are always looking for ways to improve the student union. If there is any part of the building that needs service, please inform the person at the information desk. There is also a suggestion box at the desk where you can fill out a card and give us more ideas for improvements. We have about 1,500 people working here for the community, and we're open to anything that can make your university life more enjoyable and productive.
That is the end of section 2. You now have half a minute to check your answers.
Now turn to section 3. Section 3. You will hear 3 linguistics students, Joe, Martin and Angela, discussing the presentation that Joe is giving soon as part of his course. First, You have some time to look at questions 21 to 26. Now listen to the first part of the conversation and answer questions 21 to 26.
Hi, Martin. Hi, Angela.
Hi, Joe.
Yeah, hi, Joe. So you're really worried about your presentation? The one about names?
I am.
Well, you know your stuff on names pretty well, so it's just a question of selecting what you want to use.
That's right.
But there's so much.
Well, you don't have to include everything. Let's start somewhere.
Well, for example, there's a lot to discuss about people's names in terms of culture.
It would be a good way to start, bringing in issues of religion, society.
I thought so.
As long as you can keep it concise, since it's potentially a large area.
I'll pick out some key points.
Good. Now, that will tend to be about differences. What about something on ways in which naming practices are often similar across different languages?
That sounds good.
I'm not sure how much I could say that's really about just names and not really general language.
Maybe you need to give that some more thought.
Yes, I'm not ruling it out.
Well, what about what first names mean? That's got to be specific to languages or language groups.
Yes, there are all sorts of different principles at work. It's a rich area for discussion.
And you can present lots of examples.
It would mean a good slide or two. I'll enjoy making those up.
Don't forget to put our names in.
No, OK. Right, where have we got up to? Yes, now, there's the question of place names.
Ones where the name of the place is the word for the situation, like something to do with sea or mountain, etc.
Yes, people often don't realise the origin.
It sounds like it's just a translation issue to me. Don't you think you might give that a miss?
Given the time limit, perhaps you're right.
You need something on place names. Could you get history in?
Actually, the way migrants often used to name places after somewhere in their country of origin is interesting.
Sounds a bit narrow to me.
Well, I'd hope to build it up a bit.
Perhaps you should make a final decision on that later.
OK, I'll see how the rest of it goes first.
Is that the lot?
No, there's still country names, the origins of those. I think that's an interesting area.
Yeah, because it's something we often don't think about.
It'd be a way to bring in various aspects. History, certainly.
I could project a map of the world and have people match the original meanings to the countries.
Well, that seems to be a foregone conclusion.
Fine.
Yes, I'm feeling clearer already.
Now you have some time to look at questions 27 to 30. Now listen to the rest of the conversation and answer questions 27 to 30.
You know, there's another aspect that I think I'll cover.
Yes?
Brand names.
Isn't that more to do with business studies?
Well, international companies are finding it increasingly important to have brand names that can be used in many different countries.
Oh, so they can advertise the same product everywhere?
Yes, and it seems that brand names are very special in our brains.
How so?
Well, there was a research study recently, carried out on a group of about 50 students. They showed them 108 words, and the students had to say whether they recognised them as real words or not. The list included, all mixed up, ordinary nouns, brand names and meaningless words, and they were shown all the words quickly. And the brand names seemed to be recognised strongly and in the emotional right-hand side of the brain. It was interesting that the brand names were recognised more readily if they were displayed in capital letters rather than lowercase, something which doesn't apply to normal words.
How strange. What else did the researchers find out?
Of course, it's a relatively small study, but they suspect that other visual features are at play, and so that, for example, colour has a major effect in helping us to store brand names in a special way in our brains.
I suppose that's logical. But what they mean by a special way?
I'm not saying I understood everything about this study,
Of course not.
but they seem to be saying that the power of brand names is that they conjure up a range of associations inside our brains, more so than ordinary words or names do.
I guess this is great news for international companies.
Potentially, certainly. Though exactly what they do...
That is the end of section 3. You now have half a minute to check your answers.
Now turn to section 4. Section 4. You will hear a lecturer talking about an unusual atomic particle called a neutrino. First, you have some time to look at questions 31 to 35. Now listen carefully and answer questions 31 to 35.
When considering the smallest unit of matter, the atom, most people know of electrons, protons and neutrons, but almost none know of another particle, even though they are constantly emitted from the sun in the trillions, with 100 to 200 billion of them regularly passing through your body every second. To repeat, that's not thousands, not millions, but billions every second. You don't feel them because they are small. In fact, so tiny that we can barely detect their presence at all. These mysterious particles are called neutrinos. Despite such an abundance, detecting them is a huge undertaking, and there are many reasons for this. Firstly, the neutrino itself is so small that you need to eliminate absolutely all other particles around. To do this, you need what is called a clean room, one that has an extremely low level of dust, microbes, floating particles, or chemical vapors. You probably don't know it, but the air around you right now has almost 40 million particles per cubic meter. In contrast, the cleanest of clean rooms has less than 10. The second problem is that you also need an environment with absolutely no background radiation. At the surface of the Earth, such radiation is all around, from the sun and sky, and from TVs and communication devices. The only way to screen out all that is to go underground, and I mean deep underground. For example, the Sudbury Neutrino Observatory in Canada uses an old nickel mine, one of the deepest in the world, and puts the observatory in its lowest tunnel, more than 2 kilometers below the surface. At such depths, stray radiation is sufficiently screened out to allow neutrinos only to pass by. The final problem is that you need an elaborate detection system, and this apparatus is huge, and its installation in this deep underground cavity presents quite a headache. Holding such a weighty construction safe and secure requires complex engineering work, such as rock bolting and support structuring. This obviously requires great care and takes a lot of effort.
Before you hear the rest of the lecture, you have some time to look at questions 36 to 40. Now listen and answer questions 36 to 40.
So I've told you about the difficulty in detecting neutrinos. They are tiny, virtually weightless, have no electric charge, and hardly interact with anything at all. Yet we can detect them, and to see how, let's consider the Sudbury installation once again. The detector there consists of a spherical container filled with heavy water. This rests inside another vessel filled with normal water, which helps support the weight of the inner sphere, as well as providing further shielding from any stray radiation. At the edge of this inner sphere are about 10,000 electronic detectors. These are extremely sensitive, able to multiply 100 million times any electric current which occurs. So, as the neutrinos pass through this sphere of water, there is a very, very, very small chance that one of them may hit a water molecule. To increase the likelihood of this, two strategies are used. 1. The larger the sphere of water, the better, and the Sudbury tank holds not 10 tons, not 100 tons, but 1,000 tons. 2. The water is special, consisting as it does of heavier molecules. So what happens is this. If the neutrino hits the water molecule, the neutrino is absorbed, but the molecule itself splits apart, producing a tiny electric current. It is this which is detected and analysed, giving key information about the neutrino. The final question is, why do we care about these elusive particles? Well, just think. They can pass right through the core of our sun at the speed of light without being affected or losing strength. No other form of radiation can do that, meaning that the knowledge we get about neutrinos can help us to control them. With this ability, we can probe the centre of our Earth, the inner layers of our sun, and the outer limits of our solar system, and that makes it all worth the effort.
That is the end of section 4. You now have half a minute to check your answers. That is the end of the listening test. In the real IELTS test, you would now have 10 minutes to transfer your answers to the answer sheet.